This episode was taken from a talk I held on entrepreneurship and 3 property secrets. I hope you get some value from this talk. I would love to hear your thoughts. You can find me on any social platform, Ryan Otto or Perfect Property Deal. If you've ever failed at increasing your income from property, it's not your fault. There's lots of misinformation online that's confusing and just holds you back from success. It's okay. You just haven't had the right person to explain it to you and take those fears away. Because I care about your success, and this podcast is here to give you everything you need to start living your dream life. My goal for this podcast is to serve 2 types of people: entrepreneurs who don't own a single property, and landlords who do. They will learn how to earn up to £42,155 a year, that's 201% above the market rent, in this well-known but little understood market called Booking.com. Hi everyone, Ryan Otto here. Welcome to Ask Ryan Otto. This is episode number 4. This is your opportunity to ask me anything. Ask away, and I am here to answer your questions. So the question that we have for this episode is, if I don't own the property, what's stopping the landlord from taking the property back? If I don't own the property, what's stopping the landlord from taking the property back? Right, that's a very good question. I'm glad that you asked that question, because lots of you guys here on YouTube watching this and over on the Perfect Property Deal podcast will really benefit from knowing the answer to this question. So that's a very good question. Thank you for that. Now it comes down to a few things. What's stopping the landlord from taking the property back? So I understand that you want to get into this because I've got a bit more of your background. You want to get started. You want to get your first perfect property deal. You want to avoid paying the mortgage deposit and putting all the money down, etc. So you've chosen to rent the property in this way and run it as a short let to avoid buying in the uncertain climate. I understand. So I understand that background just for you guys. So you guys listening and watching, you have a bit more of the context behind the scenes for the person who asked this particular question. Now, you will have to have the right agreement. I can't stress enough, you have to have the right agreement. If you've been on Facebook or Twitter or on social media and somebody else has, you've been talking about this topic for argument's sake, and you've said, I don't want to go to a solicitor to pay for the agreement, or has anybody got an agreement that I can use? You will find people that will say, yes, I've got an agreement, I used it, it's absolutely fine, it works, it's perfect, you can have it for free. Or maybe you can have it for, a charge. I don't know if they're giving it away, or you can download it on somebody's website for free, or if there's a small charge. But what I would say is the agreement is the most important part, or one of the most important parts. Now, what I mean by that is, if you've entered into a deal and you can see the profit, let's say it's a 5-year agreement. Let's say it's a 5-year agreement and you can see that you would be making, let's just say, £2,000 a month, okay? Now, that's £24,000 a year. It's a lot of money over 5 years. Let's just say you didn't use the right agreement from the start. You got the agreement off of the internet. You downloaded it off of one of these sites or one of these companies giving it away for free. Or you even used one that somebody else had used and it's been passed around. And maybe they didn't actually have any problems to do with termination or early termination or any reasons why the landlord would try to get out of that agreement early. For any reason at all. Could be they need to sell. Could be they've come into some financial problems. Could mean that they're being repossessed. It could mean that they've split up with their partner. Now they have to, divvy the house up, or one of them's going to move back in. if it's a divorce settlement or something like that, and the children have to move in, or maybe it's any other element that will arise, can arise. I've seen lots of these things arise, okay, from the deals that we've done. So let's assume that you did have £2,000 a month locked in, or you thought you had £2,000 a month locked in. And then you go out making plans on the back of that. Well, I've got £2,000 a month coming in every single month for the next 5 years. So you go out and make plans. You maybe you buy things you wouldn't have normally bought. Maybe you reinvest the money. Maybe you go and upgrade your property and now you've got a bigger property. Maybe you take on another member of staff. Maybe you spend it on a Rolex watch, or maybe you go on a luxury holiday, or maybe you sign up to an exclusive package in Mayfair at the gym where it's, £600, £700, £800 a month. Whatever you decide to do, let's just say you've counted your chickens before they've hatched, okay? Now, that's absolutely fine to do those things and spend the money however you want, whether it's on, things that will make you more money, or whether it's things that are shiny things which you just want to spend money on. That's entirely up to you guys. Now, if there was a problem and if the landlord tried to back out and cancel the agreement or terminate the agreement and you didn't have the right agreement, it's as simple as the rug would be pulled from underneath you. I can't stress enough. If you haven't got the right agreement, you cannot really count that money as money in the bank if it's the whole concept, the whole deal, the whole structure has been built on sand, okay? Let's just say it's built on sand if you don't have the right agreement, okay? Because it could come down to something like this. Let me give you an example. Actually, let me give you a real example. Now, a property that I leased on the south coast, okay? Property in the south coast that I leased, it would have been fantastic to have it long term. Fantastic property, okay? Now, it got to the point where when I did the deal, it was with one person, okay? The owner. Okay, so this would have been a 3-year lease? I think this was a 3-year lease. It was a 3-year lease. This was a 3-year lease, I remember. It had an amazing balcony upstairs. It was about 50 square meters on the roof. It was the penthouse with a massive outside balcony, okay? Fantastic. Now, I could not wait until it became the summer, knowing what we was earning in the winter months. In the summer, it would have been a £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 a month apartment, penthouse, roof terrace, garden, amazing, overlooking the city. So I was, obviously, I entered into the deal in the low season with the view that as soon as we get to the first summer, it will be fantastic. It will be amazing. £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 a month. I believe I rented it for what would that have been? £1,250? I think it was £1,250 a month I paid, and it would have rented for up to £8,000 a month in the summer. So, entered into that particular deal in the right way, okay? Using my agreement, the right agreement, put together by a lawyer, and obviously we develop it as we go on. As we come into problems, encounter problems, it goes back to the lawyers, we change it, upgrade things, put new things in, and then it overcomes that challenge. So we've developed it. It's a constant ongoing development process. Now, shortly after entering into that deal, the owner was faced with being divorced by, obviously, his wife. Now, part of the divorce settlement was the wife got to have that property, and she got control over some other properties that he had, okay? So as soon as the wife took over, she was like, okay, this was within a matter of a few weeks. This is my apartment now. I don't want you here, so I'm just going to terminate this agreement. You've got to leave, right? That's what she tried to do. Now, if that agreement wasn't robust, put together in the right way, with the right clauses, the right exit clauses, the right termination clauses, the correct penalties, if something like this eventuality should happen, I would have just wasted all of the money I put into that property. And let me remind you, that particular property was in terrible condition when we got it. Terrible condition. So we had to put our own money in to renovate the property. I mean, just light cosmetic stuff, inside, flooring, facelift. You know, not spending hundreds of thousands of pounds or new kitchens and bathrooms. I mean, it had a good facelift, okay? Decoration, floorings and soft furnishings and everything else. So with all of that and all the furnishing and decorating and the void at the start and maintenance and tradesmen, you know, we put a few £1,000s into that property knowing that it's ours for the long term and it's secure. And in the summer months, especially the summer, it's good in the winter, but it's amazing in the summer. We would have earned, you know, generated £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 a month, and was only paying £1,250 a month, okay, because it was in a bad, poor state. So when it came to, she actually instructed lawyers, solicitors, because our agreement was that robust, it was that tight, it was put together so well. It was very fair, but just overcoming this, if they enter into the agreement and just change their mind and just want to take the property back, which is basically what this new owner who inherited the property from a divorce settlement tried to do. And it went on for, I think it was around 5 or 6 months or so. We managed to, you know, it wasn't as if next Friday you have to be out because it's like a 14-day termination. We agreed to an early termination based on a financial settlement that they had to reimburse my company with. So everyone was happy in the end, okay? But let's look at if you didn't have the right agreement. So let's say you find a property, you haven't used the right agreement because you've tried to save money at the start. I understand if you're doing this on a shoestring budget, but you do need to have the right agreement. Because let's say you just furnish the property. Let's say you just furnish the property. So you've got the property from the landlord, you signed them up on the agreement that you someone gave to you, or you downloaded for free, or you got it very, very cheaply, wasn't specifically drafted by a lawyer, or a property specialist solicitor who understands short letting, management agreements and, you know, these types of contracts, okay? And the clauses they have to have, and you've paid the first month's rent, for argument's sake, you've paid the deposit. The property might take a month before you find the first guests, and then if Booking.com are collecting the revenue for you or the cost of the stay, you don't get paid until the end of the whole month is gone. You get paid on the 16th of the next month. So let's say you haven't had any money coming in for 2 months, and you've only had money going out. The first month's rent and a deposit you've paid. So nothing coming in, only money going out, okay? For the first couple of months. Now, let's say you've then furnished the property. You've styled the property. You know, that could cost you, well, whatever you decide, whatever the budget is. So you've invested money, your own money, and your time into this particular deal. To then find, as soon as you list it on the booking sites, this is just one example of a landlord choosing to take the property back or backing out of the deal early. You list the property and it's on at £699, 2-bedroom flat with bed in the bedroom, bed in the second bedroom, sofa bed in the front room, so you can get 6 people in there. So let's say it's £699 for a Saturday or Friday night. And the rent that you're paying is £1,000 a month. And let's just say it's £400 or £300 for a Friday night. So that's £1,000 just for a Friday night and a Saturday night. It's just one scenario that I'm giving you guys. There's lots of different reasons of how owners and landlord circumstances can change like that for them to find a way of getting out or finding a loophole. Depends on how ethical they are. They may just need to get the property back and maybe take advantage of you. It does happen, guys, okay? It does happen. So I want to make sure that all of you guys are protected. That's my goal here, to make sure that all of you guys are listening on the Perfect Property Deal podcast, or you guys watching on YouTube or wherever else this is distributed online on social, okay, for you guys. Now, I care that I'm giving you the best possible advice so you can make this a success and you don't lose out, okay? So, taking all that into consideration, having the wrong agreement, not structured correctly, without the right exit clauses. If a landlord would see that property on the internet for the whole month's rent that you pay, you stand to earn that in 2 nights, just 2 nights, Friday night, Saturday night. That alone could make them think, hold on a minute, if I'm giving away all of that money, why don't I just take the property back? Now you've given them the idea. Now you've shown them the idea. It's like you've brought this concept to the table. You've set it all up. You've put it on the booking site. You've listed it. You've got some bookings. They can see it on the site. And now a light bulb goes off in their mind, which is like, this is the opportunity. It happens all the time in business. And they could just decide, I'm going to steal that idea. I'm going to steal that opportunity. I'm going to open that company. I'm going to take that person's advice and I'm going to run with that project. That can happen not saying it will, can happen in exactly the same way. So you just need to be switched on. You just need to be one step ahead. You just need to be on the ball, okay? As long as you're thinking about these things, these possibilities, which do happen, guys, excuse me, then you'll have a very good time, or a very good career at this, and you'll make lots of money moving forward, okay? So you have to have the right agreement so you don't lose out. The agreement has to have the right clauses. Yes, the landlord can take the property back if you don't have those correct things in place. My best advice for you, work with somebody that you know is already doing this, just to be able to model what they're doing or model their agreement. Okay, this is someone already doing it that has put the money in, has put the time in, has had it drafted by a solicitor, has had that agreement tested, and knows that that agreement works. When you've got someone like that around you, then you can avoid all of those mistakes and look forward without being held back by those mistakes. You could do a joint venture with those guys that have already got everything up and running and established to ensure that you can get a copy of their agreement. Or you could ask them for advice where they got their agreement drafted, what solicitor they used, and could you use their solicitor? That's a couple of options, because if you go into this without an open mind and your eyes wide open, those are some of the pitfalls that could or would affect you. And I don't want you guys to start to get that momentum, to then be pulled back, to be held back, have these burdens, losing money, dealing with landlords trying to take their properties back because they've now seen how much money you can make. I just want you to be able to move forward as quickly as possible to get the momentum you need to make this a real success. And I'll be so pumped if you guys just hit me up on social, came back to me, commented on my social, sent me an email or sent me a video and let me know about your success and how you were doing, and how this talk alone helped you or inspired you. I would love that, okay? So in the answer to your question, I've rambled on for a while. Yes, they can take the property back if it's not set up properly. You have to have the right agreement. Make sure you get it drafted by a lawyer, or you work with somebody who's already having success at this, has had their agreement tested, and people haven't been able to back out, okay? So thank you all for watching this episode. I've had a great time here today with you guys on this particular episode. I really appreciate all of you watching on YouTube and you guys listening on the podcast and everybody else where this content will be distributed on social. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, to make sure that you get the exclusive content, the bonus content. And I would really love, I'll be so pumped if you guys just let me know what you thought about this episode. So let me know what you think. Just hit me up on any social, comment below this video, send an email to my office. Let me know in the Perfect Property Deal community on Facebook. I would really love to hear from you guys. So remember, guys, you keep asking the questions and I will keep answering them. You're only one perfect property deal away from everything that you want. My friend, if you're not already using arbitrage, what I mean by that is taking a rental property you don't have to be the owner of out of the AST rental market and putting it on Booking.com. You stand to lose out on the largest transfer of wealth that's happening right now in 2019. Because every £1,000 of AST rent is now worth up to £3,000 of rent on Booking.com. If you're not focusing all of your attention on Booking.com right now, you stand to lose. Now you have a massive advantage over the other 2.5 million landlords that are also looking for these secrets. Don't waste that advantage by doing nothing after listening to this talk today. You can join our communities on social media called Ask Ryan Otto to discuss these episodes and have your questions answered on the next show. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Snapchat. I would love to hear from you and know what you liked about this talk.